What's going on, everybody? Man, last night was amazing. We had a great time, and I'm just going to recap some of the things that we went over. Um, Remember, we're in our relationship series, and last night we were talking on the topic of love. Love in the Hebrew is spelled AHAV, and it literally means I am life for you, right? Now, what we talked about last night was AHAB, which is love, right? But it's talking about life and I'm your father, pretty much. Life and father. But let's really dig into what we were talking about. One of the big key topics was life-giving relationships start with truth. Last night's session was so powerful. We didn't just skim the surface, we went deep. We uncovered what real relationships look like. Not just casual connections, but relationships that breathe life into us. So let me break that down on what that really looks like. I'm gonna give you some of the main points from what we talked about last night. 1, love equals life. Again, I said in Hebrew, the word for love is ahav. Literally means I am life for you. So ask yourself, is the relationship that you're in, whether it's spouse or friend, family, whatever it is this relationship adding life to my soul? If it's draining you, it might not be love. It might just be attachment. And that's something we all really need to look at. Are we just giving all our time to things we're attached to versus things that give life to us? When we're around people and when we're coexisting with people and when we're in deep relationship with people, do they just drain us of all our life? Or do they give us life to keep going and keep moving? Another main point was vulnerability is strength. Real connection requires real openness. But here's the risk. You might be misunderstood. You might get hurt. But if you're not willing to be seen, you'll never truly be known. Let me say that again. If you're not willing to be seen, you'll never truly be known. Another main topic was accountability over comfort. True relationships don't just make you feel good, they make you grow. If your friendship, your relationship, your inner circles aren't shaping you into a stronger version of yourself, it's time to reevaluate. Like, really sit down and look at it. If they aren't pointing you closer to God and making you bear his image, you need to reevaluate those relationships. Another main point was stop chasing, start trusting. What's meant for you won't require manipulation. You don't have to convince, force, or fight for what God has already assigned to you. If it's in his will, it'll just flow. Right? Another main point was tradition versus truth. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's right. What culture says, what social media promotes, doesn't always align with God's authority. It's time to seek truth, not trends. So don't just do something because everybody else is doing it. Check and see if it aligns with truth. If it doesn't align with truth, throw it out. Right? All we want is truth over here. Now, I want you all to pause for a second and ask yourself, are the people in my life pointing me back to God? That's one question. Another one. Do I bring life to them in return? If the answer isn't yes, something has to change. Right? It's time to be intentional, authentic, rooted in life, truth, and purpose. But I want you to really look at those two questions. Are the people in my life pointing me back to God? And do I bring life to them in return? Now, we talked about stop forcing what's not yours And what we meant by that was too many of us are fighting for relationships, jobs, and friendships that God never intended for us. We're trying to hold on to things and force things to happen the way that we want to happen instead of just allowing God to do it in his perfect time. Our relationship with him should be the first one that we get down pat before we go start making relationships with other people. And in saying that, I want to give you some real talk that we talked about last night. And here it is. If it's not from God, don't pick it up, don't grab it, don't hold on to it. But if it's from God, it flows. If it's from God, it brings peace, not confusion. If it's from God, you don't have to force it. You just have to stay in position. So here's a challenge for that. Stop asking God to bless what he never sent. Stop delaying your destiny because of disobedience. Stop giving life to things God is trying to remove. I want you to challenge yourself to do these things this week. And as you do those things, I want you to write down these 3 questions and ask yourself these questions this week. Am I truly aligned with God's authority, or am I just trying to control things? Are my relationships giving life or draining it? Am I trying to convince someone to stay when God is telling me to let them go? Are we doing these things? Ask yourself this question this week. These 3 questions. I want to leave you with this. Your standard is your protection. Your obedience is your breakthrough. Your peace is found in his authority. Stop playing small. God called you to more. So as you continue throughout this week, I just want you to be intentional about giving life to everyone that you're in a relationship with, whether it be friend, whether it be family, whether it be spouse, whether it be, just someone you're in a relationship with. Give life. Even to those that every time you rub up or talk to them or encounter them, friction comes in. Stop looking at the friction as death. Just because it doesn't feel good doesn't mean it isn't good for you. So take a moment to see, is this person speaking life and truth? Are they trying to give me life and truth, or are they trying to give me death and poison? This is something that we need to sit down and check out, and I really want us to dig deep and figure out, are we loving? Are we giving life to others? Or are we using the world's tainted love, which destroys and brings death, and calling it God's love? I hope this blessed you. Talk to you all next week. Good one.